Hey there guys, in this video I'm going to be showing you a few different ways to do the Judge Magister fight and the reason for doing this fight. And real quick I'll mention, as far as the Omega Mark 12 goes, as I mentioned in my news video, if you don't have the new units for Final Fantasy 12, like the new Balthier or Ash or Vaughn, this Chronicle battle is kind of insane. Now, I've been working on it a little bit. I have not had an all mission clear using only awakened Neovision units, and I don't have any of the new guys, so I'll work on that later. But for now, the Judge Magister fight. Now, the reason for doing this fight, if you look in the top left corner, you see these little like rainbow cloth looking things. Those are used to upgrade the clothing for Vayne. So in Raid Box 4, you'll get this, Vayne's Garb. This is in the Box 4 of the Raid. And you can upgrade it twice through Rainbow Cloths. The first upgrade cost 100 Enhanced Silk, and the second upgrade costs 200. So you need to farm a total of 300 Enhanced Silk from the Judge Magister fight. Now, he doesn't actually drop these Enhanced Silks. You get these from stealing. So we're going to go in here, and the boss is a human weak to basically nothing, but really just fire. He does some stuff, but really easy. And I'm going to show you a Libra real quick. Here's a Libra of the boss. As you can see, he has 900 million HP and 210 fire resist, and then even more to the rest. So you really want to use a really powerful Fire Imperil. Stacking Fire Imperils even better, which is what we're going to do in like the budget mode. But yeah, you want to use really strong fire damage. He also does protect on himself on turn 1. That can be dispelled. He also goes magic immune later in the fight, but we're not gonna worry about that. So this is gonna be our budget run. We're gonna use someone to steal. Now the Neovisioned Awakened Fran, her normal attack will steal. So we're gonna give her dual wield and quad attack with the Aurora Scarf, so she can steal 4 times. We're also going to give her a source of Bandit to increase her stealing chance to 100%, because without Bandit, steal can miss. Some units, like Zahn for example, have Bandit as a natural passive. They will never miss a steal. But most units, for example, Fran, or maybe someone you give the steal materia to, steal can miss if you don't have Bandit. So we can get Bandit from Mark of the Raven. Another source of Bandit is the Thief Bracer. So there's 2 sources of Bandit. Thief Bracer came from the arena, and Mark of the Raven came from the Raven quest line in the main story. But anyway, she's going to steal 4 times per turn. There seems to be a cap of about 8 steals per battle, but you want to steal multiple times to get as many Enhanced Silk as possible per run. Now for this budget run, the boss does up to 2 AoE physicals per turn and some single target physicals. The AoE physicals can be, or have accuracy. So we're going to use double Mirage from Shadow, and the single target stuff can be evaded, so Shadow's going to provoke as well. Now we're going to use Lena for a stacking Fire Imperil. If you don't have Lena, she is the only unit that has a Fire Imperil field on Global. So if you don't have her, then you just have to do with the best Fire Imperil you have. And if you use really powerful DPS, like my second clear, this is going to be the second clear, where we're going to completely blow up the boss, like off the face of the planet. But if you don't have Lena, that's fine. Before a budget run, if you happen to have Lena, we're going to want to use her. EX0 is totally fine. You don't even need EX1. EX0 is all you need. We're going to use the Aerith and Red for Fire Imbue, Fire Amp, Fire Killer. And then, by the way, Fran herself, the free unit, has a 135% Fire Imperil from Oil, which we're going to be using to big Fire Imperil on top of Lena's field. And then for damage, we're going to use Mazurka because, no one ever uses Mazurka, so we're going to use her. Now, she is geared, sort of well, but she's going to solo carry the budget run, and this is not entirely budget, but it kind of is. So she's going to jump with Human Killer. So we've got, her own STMR, a chain cap up at Magister, some Dragoon gear with the helm and the card, and then, her own intrinsic ability, some human killer, and some jump damage. So she's going to have maxed out jump and 275 human killer. Okay, let's go in here and get a... This is going to be a 3-turn clear because Mazurka is a slow jumper, but that's fine. The next clear will be quicker. Okay, so here's the ambush, and you'll see right here, during the ambush, the boss puts up an attack buff and a defense buff. These can be dispelled. We're not going to dispel them yet, though. The first thing we're going to do is Shifted Aerith is going to wish to save the planet for an AoE human killer, helps out, and then Ardent Prayer for fire imbue, stat buff, and a fire amplify. So that'll give all those buffs to Mazurka. Now, Mazurka could do things like, increase her modifiers, buff herself, but we're not going to waste time with all that. We're just going to jump literally on turn 1, because she's a slow jump, and that's kind of annoying. We're going to have Fran just punch the boss 4 times. Look at the top of the screen. It's stealing. It's stealing multiple times. We're getting lots of Enhanced Silk. You're going to get more next turn. Lena is just going to use her Magnus to refill her LB gauge. If your Lena is EX2 or higher, that's not important. Mine is not. And Shadow is going to double. We're going to do Concealing Shadow to AoE Mirage the party, and then Illusion Maneuver to provoke himself for the single target. And he's also full evasion build. Okay, so some AoE physical damage, and then some single target stuff that can be evaded. There we go. Now, again, here is the buffs we got to get rid of. We're going to use Aerith to dispel those buffs and get rid of them. There we go. Now we're going to use Lena's LB to put up the Fire and Peril field. We're going to just reload Shadow and Mirage and provoke again. And then Fran is going to punch, and look at the top of the screen, we're going to steal a lot more silk. So that was a relatively bad run. Sometimes you can steal as many as 5 per steal. That's low RNG, but whatever, it happens. Anyway, Mazurka is ready to drop, so now we're going to use Shadow to break defense with Takedown. It's an 84% defense break. Obviously, if you've got better defense breaks, go for it and use it. There we go. And then Fran is going to do a Fire and Peril with Oil. Now we're going to tag chain Aerith, and we're going to drop our Mazurka. So tag chain Aerith, wait for the chain to be about 20-ish, and then drop Mazurka. There it is. We did 1.1 billion. The boss has 900 million, so we overkilled by 20%. So, hopefully this is relatively approachable. But again, that was with a stacking Fire and Peril field, which is a really big deal on this fight. So if you don't have Lena, you're probably not going to want to use a solo Mazurka as your option. But things like Esther and all that are totally fine. And again, that was a bad RNG. You can get as many as like 20 or 30 Enhanced Silk in a run, depending on your luck with steals. We could have actually gone longer and stolen more, but, whatever. Anyway, now let's go ahead and do the quick clear. Now, the quick clear is obviously less efficient as far as energy spent, but maybe a little bit easier for just your convenience. So we're going to once again use 4x steal with Fran, but we're going to turn 1 OTK, which is, again, not efficient as far as, your energy spent goes, but if you just want to go in here and hit repeat on a turn 1 clear and not care about efficiency, there you go. So we're going to quad with Fran and steal 1, 2, 3... There you go. You saw it right there. You saw it there. It stole 10. Yeah. So it's RNG how much you steal. So we stole 13 in 1 turn. So we could go to turn 2, turn 3, steal as many as 20 or 30 in a single battle. But this is the speed clear. So now we're going to use Roberta. We're going to triple. We're going to do in this order. We're going to start off with Siphon Snap. This is going to dispel the boss's protect. Then we're going to do Inferno Breath to imperil the boss, imbue the party, amplify the party. And we're going to do Support from the Skies to buff the party's stats. Okay, now Kaito is going to do his Shifted LB. That's going to break the enemy as the first action, and then chain with Esther, who is only going to use the Hayo Vision card. This is not the cheap run. Now, the reason Esther is doing that, because Esther auto-buffs LB damage for the party, just by being on the team. So she buffed the LB damage of Chizuru, who's going to use her LB. So we're going to go ahead and just chain these guys up. Make sure you click Kaito first in the chaining order to get that break in. And it's going to be a turn 1 clear, even though we don't have Lena. If you have powerful units, it's fine. Whatever. Turn 1 OTK. Go in there, farm it over, repeat. It's less energy efficient, and we did 1.9. We more than double overkilled the boss. You don't even need as much power. And now that I think about it, I could probably drop Chizuru or Esther and bring another Stealer for the turn 1 OTK setup. But, then again, Chizuru. No, Chizuru is important, and Esther's important to buff Chizuru's LB damage, and Kaito's important to break. Okay, so I guess we really couldn't drop anyone for the turn 1 OTK. So that is just, there it is, 13 Silk on turn 1. But again, it's RNG. You saw our 2-turn steal only got like 11 Silk, and then we got 10 Silk and a single steal for that run. But there it is. So keep farming this until you have 300 enhanced Silk, and that'll be all you need, and then you're done with the fight. Just keep stealing, so either do like a slow budget run or a speed run. But again, if you don't kill the boss, and I think 3 or 4 turns, he goes magic immune, so if you are using mages, you might want to switch to physical units. But anyway, before people ask, is this worth even farming? Because it's for like a piece of gear that only Vayne can use. If you're like, a high-end player, you've got all the best units. Not really, it's not important. But for players that don't have all the best units, you're probably going to be using Vayne to clear this idiotic Mark Omega thing that is very, very bulky. And why is the game going slow? Yeah, but the reason Vayne's gear is important is because Vayne is going to be kind of a big deal for killing this on the budget runs. Now, if you have Balthier or Vaughn, you don't need Vayne. Now, if you don't have those, you're going to have to use Vayne to clear this, and getting Vayne's upgraded chest piece is a big boost for him. Okay, hope this was helpful. See you in a bit.